Welcome back. BC NDP leader Adrian Dix has been tight-lipped on several oil-related issues on the West Coast, but after coming out strong against proposed pipeline projects, Dix gave his take on a possible moratorium on new tanker traffic.
As NDP leader Adrian Dix toured Vancouver radio stations to sell his newly unveiled campaign platform, many questions were raised about his opposition to oil tanker traffic on the North Coast and here in Metro Vancouver.
This is what you told me on October 23rd.
I think in principle, you've got to wait till you see what something is before you oppose it.
So what's changed?
There's been some increase in oil tanker traffic, but an 8 or 9-fold increase is transforming Vancouver into a major oil tanker port is something I disagree with.
Dix rejected the idea of one caller to hold a public referendum on the expansion of Kinder Morgan's pipeline to export crude oil from Vancouver.
The answer is no. I think we wouldn't put it to a referendum. I think we would, but because it's my strong view that it doesn't make sense for Metro Vancouver to see a massive increase like that.
When pressed by reporters about whether he opposes tanker traffic all along the BC coast, Dix avoided the question until he was asked about traffic through the Strait of Juan de Fuca, which any ship in the southern half of BC has to travel through to get out to sea.
I think people in BC have serious questions about that, and I do too. I don't see it as being a good idea for us to dramatically increase tanker traffic in this region.
Dix will no doubt face more questions about his position on oil tanker traffic and pipelines when he faces off against the other party leaders in a radio debate on Friday morning. Byron Chu, Sun News Network, Vancouver.
And BC Premier Christy Clark is trying to shore up support among the province's female voters. On the campaign trail, Clark has been taking part in women-centered events, hoping to boost her popularity. But as our Lisa Mrazek reports, it's not going to be all that easy to woo the women's vote. Lisa Mrazek has the details from the Clark camp.
While speaking to a group of women executives here in Vancouver Thursday, Premier Christy Clark said a Liberal government would create a new Women's Economic Advisory Committee that would advise the Premier directly on how to make life easier for small business owners. Clark has been attempting to reach out to female voters as of late, but they haven't been taking the bait. Latest polling leading up to the election showed that a majority of women are strong supporters of the NDP and don't approve of the job Clark is doing as Premier. But she denied that the announcement was a ploy aimed at narrowing the gender gap.
No, it has to do with growing the economy. We need to grow the economy and not grow government. We need to find a way to make sure that we are growing the small business sector. And the Women's Economic Advisory Council recognizes that there are more women in small business in British Columbia than any other province except one in the country. So if we want to grow small business, we need to speak to women as well as men in small business.
Still, she insists her plan is superior to the NDP plan, which is to create a new Ministry of Women's Equality.
One is going to grow government, add bureaucracy, and mean that he has to raise taxes to pay those bureaucrats' salaries. So for me, making sure that women get a fair shake isn't just about one ministry. It's something that needs to happen all across government. And therefore, you need a group of women advising the Premier directly on that.
Clark also pointed out in her keynote address that the Liberals have the largest slate of female candidates in the party's history. As for whether or not her latest attempts to boost her popularity with women will pay off, we'll find out soon enough. Reporting in Vancouver for Sun News Network, I'm Lisa Mrazek.
And as you all know, Sun News is on top of the BC election campaign. David Akin will have Tales from the Campaign Trail on Battleground each night at 6 p.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific. And be sure to tune in to Sun News this Monday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern for a special Battleground BC. We'll have live coverage and analysis of the only televised debate of this election campaign. You won't want to miss it.